More news today. The Brown County Sheriff's Office investigating a deadly one-vehicle crash on I-43 near County Highway Double N. Deputies say a Jeep Wrangler driven by a 56-year-old man from Ashwaubenon lost control on a slippery northbound stretch of the interstate about 6:30 this morning and rolled. He was the only person in the vehicle. He was ejected from that vehicle and suffered critical injuries. First responders took him to the hospital. He was pronounced dead. Investigators say those road conditions and not wearing a seatbelt appeared to have contributed. How severe this crash was, the man's name is not as being withheld, that is, until a family can be notified. That crash remains under investigation.